Hey everyone, so for today's video I'm going to do a book sacrifice video where I show you all the books that I'm taking off my shelves and stuff that I'm going to give away, sell, or just keep somewhere else besides my shelf. So as you can probably see, this is my bookshelf, of course, and this is where I keep all my books. And from IKEA, ta-da. And I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have like 12 shelves where I keep all my books. And with all the books I read, of course, I can't fit all of them. So from time to time, I have to take some off. I take off the books that I didn't really like, and I either give it away or, yeah, I just keep somewhere in my garage. And sometimes I have books that I want to take off, not because I don't like them, but because I love them, but I read them like a really long time ago, and I just want to take them off my shelf just to make room for new ones. But those I do keep with me, and yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. And I'm also going to include some manga that I've taken off my shelf. I have an additional like shelf unit above my desk where I keep like all my manga, and sometimes I want to stop like collecting some of them, so I'm also going to show some of the manga that I've taken off that shelf. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. These are in no particular order, but the first part that I'm going to show you are the books that I did not like. Alright, so the first thing I have here is The Piano Teacher by Janice Y.K. Lee. I wasn't really blown away by this book. I didn't really understand the story that much, and I actually found the writing to be kind of boring. So the second book I have here is The Scandal of the Season by Sophie G. Again, really boring. I didn't really like the writing in this one either, so gone. The next is Summer Reading by Hilma Wolitzer. I don't really remember much from this book, but I don't really think I liked the characters and like the actual story of it. It wasn't something that really interested me as much, but I still read it anyway. But yeah. The next book I have here is A Field Guide to Burying Your Parents by Liza Palmer. The story was interesting. Am I lying? It was okay. It was just an average book that I don't think that I would keep or read again. Just the characters and stuff. The whole thing was just very cheesy, and yeah. And then the next two books I have here are by the same author, Brashares. Yeah. She's the author of The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. The first one I have here is My Name is Memory. And then the one here is The Last Summer of You and Me. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of her writing style. I love her storylines. I think I've mentioned this in another video. I don't remember which one, but I mentioned it before, how I'm not a huge fan of like her I'm not a huge fan of her like writing style, but I love her storylines. But I'm probably not going to keep this on my bookshelf. And then the next book I have here is by Lois, Lowry, Find a Stranger, Say Goodbye. I've read The Giver, I've read The Messenger. Yeah, The Giver and Messenger, and like I didn't really enjoy this book as much as I did for the other ones. I didn't really find it as like interesting. It was just okay. So, and then the next book I have here is a memoir by Marya Hornbacher, and it's called Wasted. It's about this woman that goes through just alcoholism. Yeah, it's a memoir, and like just basically her life and like how she faces drinking and anorexia and bulimia, all of that. Was it about drinking? I don't even remember. No, I think it was just eating disorders. Just kidding. It's a book about her life of like her going through her eating disorder. And this book wasn't as interesting as her other book. I have another book by her. It's on my shelf. Right here. Right? Yeah. It's called Madness, and this is about her dealing with her bipolar disorder. And I found this book a lot more interesting than Wasted. simply because this one was a lot more statistical. She added a lot of statistics and this one was a lot of like her story and a lot of her life experiences, and I found this one to be a lot more interesting. So, wasted. The next one I have here is The Girl Next Door by Selene Castrovilla. It is a book about, what is it? See, a lot of these books like I've read a long time ago, so I don't really remember. But it's about these neighbors, a boy and a girl, and he has cancer, I think, and right? I think so. Yeah, and it's just about like how she and him deal with it and how they form a relationship together. It was just very cheesy, and yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the writing style. So. And then the next book I have is Sunrise on Cedar Key by Terri Dulong. I didn't know that this was like a series until like, I think this was, yeah. This is like a series and I didn't know, and I just read this one. Yeah. And I didn't really like it. I didn't really like the writing style again, and I found the story wasn't something that I was really interested in, so gone. And then I have 2 more books that I'm gonna put in my garage until I can figure out what to do with them. Is Angel's Rest by Charles Davis. It was okay. I don't remember the story. So if you want to look any of these up, I'll leave a list of all the books that I'm going to take out of my bookshelf. But yeah, the story was interesting, but I found like the actual pace of the story to be too slow. So, and then the last book is Lauren Conrad's first book from like the series that she's writing, or she has written, I don't know. And it's called LA Candy. It's not the type of book that I would probably read. Just because it's a little bit too, it's about like celebrities' life, about this girl that like comes to LA and she's like recruited into this reality TV show, and it's probably not the type of book I would read, but I picked it up just because it was on sale and I wanted to know like if she actually like wrote well, and the writing is fine, but it's probably not like the genre of books that I would read. Oh, pause. I have one more book that I'm taking off my shelf, and it is called Falling for Hamlet by Michelle Ray. This is like a modern retelling of Hamlet. I just thought it was weird, honestly. I read it like my senior year after we read Hamlet, and it was just really bizarre and not a kind of book that I would read, but I just read it just because I had read Hamlet in class, and yeah. And then the next 5 books that I have here, right here, are books that I'm taking off my shelf, but I am keeping just because I really love them, but I had to take them off. So I could make room for more books. And the first 2 books I have here are The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, both by Mark Twain. I lied. These are the books that I didn't really like. I read this one in class back in 6th grade, I think, and then this one I read just for fun, just because it was by Mark Twain, and yeah, I don't know if it's because I read them while I was like younger that I didn't really get it, but I didn't really like either of these books. I may have to read them again now that I'm older. Tell me in the comment section down below if I should read them again. Maybe it's a lot clearer now that I'm older, but when I read them before, I did not like these 2 books. But I'm just going to keep it just because they're classics. And then the next book I have here is Enthusiasm by Polly Shulman. Just a fun book about like these 2 girls that really love Jane Austen, and I love Jane Austen's books, so I read this one, and it was just like a really cute, simple read. I read it a long time ago. And then the next 2 books I have here are both by Anna, and this one's called Wait for Me, and this one's A Step from Heaven. And this one is called A Step from Heaven. I really love her writing style and her just her stories that she writes, and they're basically like 2 stories about like Asian families. And yeah, these 2 books are really great. Highly recommend them if you haven't read her books. Yeah, I'd say what they're about, but I actually don't remember. what these two are about, so all I remember is that I really like these two, so keeping them. Alright, and then the last books that I'm going to show are actually manga. And for those who don't know, these are Japanese comic books. And I really love collecting manga. I'm the kind of person that loves reading them over and over again. But I do not have that much room on my shelves, and sometimes I get bored of collecting the series because sometimes they just go on forever. So I really taken out a lot of the manga that I don't want to collect anymore. I usually take them out once in a while when I find a new series and I'm like, oh, I really like the series, but I don't want to collect this one again. So, yeah. So the first one, I only bought one book, and it is by Clamp, and it's Cardcaptor Sakura. I really enjoyed the anime. I loved watching it as a kid, and then I rewatched the whole Japanese series. Yeah, this has a lot of volumes. I don't remember how many, but it is just way too much, and I thought I wanted to collect it. But now that I've gotten into other they fell. Yeah, and now that I've gotten into other manga, this didn't really interest me as much, so taking this one off. And the last I'm gonna take off of my shelf is Death Note by Death Note. I collected the first 4 books. Let's see, Sugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata. Yeah, working the Japanese names. Yeah, I bought the first 4 volumes, and I really thought that I wanted to collect it, but now that I'm kind of I really got into more shoujo stuff. I used to be a huge fan of Shonen Jump and all of their manga, but now that I have a lot more shoujo manga, and the only Shonen Jump manga I have is Yu-Gi-Oh! I didn't really want to collect this because once again this has crap load of volumes that I can't afford, so bye. Alright you guys, that's all for today's book sacrifice video. I'll probably do this every couple of months because I read a lot, and a lot of times it can't fit on my shelf anymore, so of course I have to take some books out. So expect to see this in a couple of months. Alright you guys, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you another time. Bye!